years since its last visit, a hurricane hunting plane arrived in Puerto Rico to mark the start of preparations of all state and individual emergency plans prior to hurricane season, which does start on June 1st. Our Francis Felix takes us there.
With the hurricane season getting closer, the Department of Public Security, the Emergency and Disaster Administration, the National Service Weather with the NOAA received the Hurricane Hunter aircraft after 2 years of being absent in the island. The Hurricane Hunter aircraft that arrived to the island is a C-130 Hercules of the Air Force Reserve. In case of a storm or a hurricane, this plane fly on top of the center of the tropical cyclones to gather data that will determine the wind speed, category, and possible route that will help in the accurate forecast. The visit of the aircraft is a reminder for the citizens to be prepared for the hurricane season. Because of the pandemic of COVID-19, it couldn't be possible to have kids and public during the visit.
Today, it's about raising awareness. The hurricane season is just around the corner. Here we're now in April. In about a month, we'll be ready to start the hurricane season, and I know it's a dread for most folks. It is for me too. I live in a hurricane-prone area, but we want to make sure we're prepared. Start thinking about what you can do. If there's things that you can do to your home to make it stronger, if there's getting those supplies, just having that plan so that when a hurricane does threaten, we know what to do to keep yourself and your family safe. The C-130 here that's behind me is the Air Force plane that flies right into the hurricanes. They fly in about 10,000 feet, and they are helping the forecasters pinpoint where the storm is located, how strong the storm is, and also how big the storm is. And they're doing that by actually measuring the winds inside the hurricane. If we don't have the plane, we have to estimate from satellite how strong the storm is. But when they're inside, they can actually measure those winds both at the flight level they're flying at, and they also drop instruments. One's called the dropson that provides a profile of the winds throughout the atmosphere, also the pressure, and they drop those as they're entering the eye and then exiting the eye, and then also toward the outer rain bands of the storm, and all that information also goes into our computer models. And when they're flying, it can help those computer models improve those forecasts by about 15 to 20%. So it's really critical, vital data that they're providing to us at the Hurricane Center.
The mission of the Department of Public Safety is always to be prepared, along with FEMA on the federal side. And this is part of the process and the operational plan that we work on a daily basis. That's the beginning of the activation on any emergency situation in Puerto Rico, where they provide the information regarding all the hurricanes that are coming towards the islands.
It's a great opportunity for we as individuals start realizing our individual and family plans, because preparedness and be ready for any type of incident is the responsibility of everyone.
Part of the public politic of the government is that the agencies join forces with the federal ones to strengthen their internal plans facing the hurricane season. So they also exhorted the Puerto Ricans to make their family plans. From Isla Grande Airport, Francis Felix.
All right, thanks so much for that report, Francis. Well, meantime, while tourism is booming again throughout the Caribbean, the pandemic is still far from over. Today, we're actually hearing from the director of the Pan American Health Organization on the latest on the pandemic in the Caribbean.
Tourism is back and booming, and COVID-19 is becoming less and less of a killer and threat to the people of the region based on the numbers. And Dr. Caricia Etienne, director of the Pan American Health Organization, informs this trend, though not seen by all countries in the Americas, is cause for celebration.
As borders have reopened and tourism has ramped up, cases have also surged in some Caribbean countries and territories, with St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Barbados, and St. Martin recording the largest relative increases. Nonetheless, on a broad scale, cases and deaths are declining in the Americas.
In the weekly press conference held virtually with media around the Americas, the update came thanking policymakers, healthcare workers, and others who have brought 14 countries to near herd immunity status. To Dr. Etienne and her team, it is evidence that coronavirus vaccines are working well.
Cases and deaths are declining in the Americas. The decoupling of death rates and new infections is proof that vaccines are working well to protect people from hospitalization and deaths due to COVID-19. Over 2/3 of people in Latin America and the Caribbean received 2 doses, and many countries in our region have some of the highest coverages in the world. With Vaccination Week in the Americas fast approaching, we can take a moment to celebrate this great achievement.
Double-digit vaccination coverage was marked for Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Bolivia, and 7 countries are now at 60% coverage for the vaccine. DeAndre Hamilton reporting.
All right, thanks, Deandra. Meantime, urgent and grim. Those are the words Chinese officials are using to describe COVID-19's grip in parts of the country. An extended lockdown in Shanghai hasn't stopped the spread there, and lockdowns could be coming to Beijing. One of the largest districts there is set to launch 3 rounds of mass testing for about 3.5 million people. That's as China attempts to deal with this outbreak. A White House official says the Biden administration will renew its push for Congress to secure COVID-19 funding this week. Meantime, Jamaica's Minister of Education and Youth, Fayval Williams, has requested an urgent meeting with CARICOM's Council for Human and Social Development to appeal the 2022 CXC exams to be postponed. Now, she said the request was made after the ministry conducted a survey in which students were asked about their preparedness for the exams. Now, of the 2,800 students surveyed, over 1,700 of them expressed the need for additional time. And Minister Williams said students across the region do deserve that additional time since the COVID pandemic has impacted the delivery of education. Early last week, a CXC spokesperson told the media in Barbados that the exams would go as planned starting next month. But the Williams administration said she will be taking the matter further to Council for Human and Social Development, which is chaired by Barbados Minister of Education, Kay Makani.
I've asked her for an urgent meeting so that we can convene that with that body for us to present our case to them as to why we believe the exams, the dates should be pushed back, and some of the other accommodations that they made last year, we're asking for those as well. We believe that our students in Jamaica and across the region have been significantly impacted. They have tried, especially students who have their school-based assessment work to do. They absolutely need more time. And so we will be advocating strenuously for this. COSAD is the kind of last level, in terms of upping the severity or upping, just calling attention to this problem.
And meantime, Williams added that while the CXC suggested that students who are not ready to sit the exams this year should defer, that should not be the only option available.